What up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Funboxing with Will. I'm your host, Will, with H2O Co. Film and Photo, and today we're going to be doing another EDC folding knife review on a knife from ColdSteel designed by Andrew Demko, featuring an innovative new locking system called the Scorpion Lock. Andrew Demko is known for his overbuilt knives and his super strong locking mechanisms, so we're going to take a closer look at this knife. Let's get into that review.
Christmas is coming, yeah. Start sending your letters off to Santa. Christmas is coming, yeah. Better be nice if you want your present. Tell all your brothers, sisters, mama.
Alrighty guys, well, before we get into the review, as always, I just want to thank anyone who stopped by this channel just to check out this video or any of my other videos. I mainly do tech EDC reviews on this channel, and if that's your thing, go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button and turn on those bell notifications to get notified when I put out new content. If this is at all informative or interesting to you, I really appreciate it, and it really helps the channel out. Today, I wanted to take a brief second. In this video, I've recently decided to start doing hardware checks in my reviews for my EDC knives, and in the beginning of this video I mentioned that I'm going to be doing a hardware check, and I completely forgot to do it while I was filming. I will be incorporating them into future videos, and just so that everyone knows, the hardware on the AD15 is going to be T8 all the way around except for the pocket clip, which is going to be T6. So I just wanted to throw that in there before we get into the top-down view. Other than that, let's go over to the top-down view and get a closer look at this AD15 by ColdSteel and Andrew Demko, guys. Alrighty guys, now that we're over here at the top-down setup, we can take a closer look at this knife from ColdSteel. Before we get into this knife though, I'd just like to take a second out to tell you guys, so I do these reviews to try and give you guys the most accurate and, most correct information about these products as possible. I try to be, diligent when I do my research on these products, and whether it's EDC gear, tech reviews, any reviews that I do, I try to be as knowledgeable about it. And for the most part, I actually have experience with these items, as I do buy and pay for everything that I review on this channel myself, and I keep and use them all. But however, I am only human, so every once in a while I will, misspeak or something like that. Also, I don't extensively edit my videos, so sometimes if I misspeak something and I say something that's not exactly accurate, especially when it's something that I feel the situation can be determined or figured out by using context clues, I most of the time will just leave it in the video. It doesn't mean that I don't know what I'm talking about. I am by no means an expert on any of this stuff, but I do have multiple years experience handling multiple different brands of knives. I own over 100 folders, and I've been collecting for quite a long time. I had an issue in a recent video where I had compared the Generation 1 and 2 Hogue Deca to each other, and during that video I had misspoke in an instant when I was talking about the change in the liner size, the internal steel liners that they had put in, and I misspoke, and I think I used the term at one point or another, liner lock, but by context clues you could tell that I was talking about the liner. Well, I got torn a new one, so YouTube can be unforgiving, and I just wanted to make it clear that sometimes I do misspeak, and I am sorry if I do that, but I do try to give out the most accurate information as possible. So if I do misspeak, I apologize. I am only human. But now going forward, I also have been informed that I feel like a lot of people would like to see hardware checks in these videos. So I'm going to start doing hardware checks on all of these videos too when I do these reviews from here on out. So now moving forward, getting into this knife, this is the AD15. It's produced by ColdSteel, and it was designed by Andrew Demko. Now, Andrew Demko, if you are unfamiliar with him, he has this niche in the market where he has been known for developing industry standard locking mechanisms for, you know, they're some of the strongest locking mechanisms that have been ever considered to be in a folding knife ever. He is the father of the triad lock, which this Tough Light by ColdSteel has. It is basically a modification of the traditional back lock that we all know and love from our grandfathers, buck knives, and, you know, old timers and stuff like that. But on the spring, the lock bar spring, he added another extra piece of metal, almost like a J hook, that will position itself between the stop pin and the tang of the blade, basically creating a solid lockup where this thing isn't going to go anywhere. And it's known for the toughness of these locks. On their website, they say they can hold, I think, up to 800 pounds of pressure before they malfunction, which is an insane amount of pressure for a locking mechanism. Well, he has created the 8010, which I believe uses the triad lock. He made the 8015, and he's also made other models, the 8020, the 8020.5, featuring the shark lock. Now, both of these are new, innovative lock styles, and funny enough, the shark lock has recently become one of my favorites because of the ease of access and the not having to have your fingers in the blade path. It's just a very intuitive design, and I really, really enjoy this. It's quickly moved to the top of my favorites as far as locking mechanisms go in knives. And yet again, with the 8015 here, he did something that I've never seen before, where he takes this scale, and the handle is a two-part handle with a yoke on a spring, basically with a huge fat honkin' stop pin right there, and then there's two pins on each side of the blade tang right here. So when you open the knife, it's a thumb stud deployed knife, but when you open it, it pushes this yoke out of the way, and to disengage it, you pull it out with your hand, and it allows the blade to free fall. And when it locks up, that stop pin goes in right there, making this a very strong lockup on this honker of a knife. I would definitely consider this to be a full-size knife. The construction, they have variable models, a whole bunch of different versions of this knife out, ranging from, you know, $140 all the way up to $600 for some of the customs. And this particular version is with G10 and titanium lock bar, and then S35 VN steel. So I think I paid somewhere around $225 for this knife. It's a great knife if you're looking for something that is overbuilt, heavy duty, hard use. I have heard, however, that this knife design does have some issues with spine wax. If you're to hit this spine really hard on the back of it, you know, and I could see how with this locking mechanism it could disengage. But again, knives are cutting tools, so if you're going to be using your knife to hammer something in and be whacking on the spine, I would personally suggest using a different tool in the first place. But as far as just using this for a knife, I feel like when you put more force on the handle, the harder you squeeze, the more you're engaging the lock. So it's got to be a really strong lockup. I haven't seen any tests done to see what weight percentages it can, you know, endure without malfunctioning, but I'm sure it'd be a lot. So yeah, the blade geometry on this one is going to be a little bit thicker. It's still kind of a slicey knife because it's pretty thin behind the edge, but it does have a really thick blade stock and some massively hard jimping here. It also has a really hard textured, darn near cheese grater feel to it. You're not going to lose grip on this knife. And it comes with a big pocket clip too that is reversible, so it's a fully ambidextrous knife, which is a nice feature I like to see. I personally remove the pocket clip because I carry this in a bag with me, my satchel, and it's just my all-around hard-to-use knife that I keep on hand wherever I go. So I throw it in a bag, and that's how I get away with not having a clip on it. But this is definitely going to be a honking blade. It's going to be kind of a wedge when you look at the design of the blade. We'll get into blade stock thickness just here in a second there. But the weight on this thing is another thing. I believe this thing is at least 6 ounces. It's a very heavy knife, so it's not something I would suggest carrying for like EDC purposes in gym shorts or anything like that. It's definitely going to be a honker. It comes in at 6.396 ounces. So definitely not something that's going to be gym short compatible, I would say. But it still has its uses, you know. I would definitely say it has its uses. Getting into the blade geometry here, like I said, it's going to be a full flat grind coming up 70% to a swedge, and then you're going to have a secondary swedge on the 10% of the top of the blade there. The blade stock thickness, as I said, is pretty thick on this guy. Let's calibrate these. You're coming in with a blade stock thickness of 0.1505 on the blade stock thickness, and then behind the edge you're coming in at 445 thousandths of an inch. So it's somewhat slicey. If you put a good 17-degree angle, I'd say, on it, you could get this thing to be a little bit slicier, but for the most part, it's going to be suited for heavier duty tasks, which, you know, that's awesome. Size comparison-wise, like I said, it's definitely a huge knife. We're going to compare it here to some common EDC knives. Here it is next to the Benchmade Bug-Out. As you can see, it is much larger than the Benchmade Bug-Out. Here it is next to the Spyderco Military 3 or Para 3. Again, much larger profile than that. And then here we go next to the Hogue Doug Ritter or the Benchmade Griptilian, however you want to look at it. It's roughly just a hair bigger than the Griptilian, so if you're carrying something like the Griptilian, it wouldn't be too hard to adjust to this, I don't believe. And yeah, overall, I've been using it for about 2 years now. And I love the blade steel. S35, as if you've watched any of my other videos, you know I really love it. It's a really well-rounded steel. It has good corrosion resistance, really good edge retention, and it's pretty tough. So and it's fairly easy to sharpen too. So I really do like it, the performance that I get with it. And as far as this design goes, the spring, when you first get this, it's kind of hard to figure out how to use it because obviously it's a newer design. It's something that most of us haven't ever seen before, but it really is intuitive. Once you get your muscle memory down, you can open it easily with one hand and close it. It's kind of hard to do in this limited space in front of the camera here, but you can definitely do that. And this spring does loosen up slightly over time, making it easier to deploy and disengage. So all around, I don't know that I'd say this is a great EDC because, you know, the weight on it is definitely going to be a factor for a lot of people. But if you're looking for something that's built like a tank, going to last forever, that you can put through hell and back, like most ColdSteel products are known for, this is definitely something you guys should look at. And if you like innovative new locking systems, this Scorpion lock here is definitely something to take a look at. Other than that, that's going to be it for the review today, guys. I appreciate you coming and checking out this AD15 by Demko and ColdSteel with me. We're going to get back over to the desktop setup so we can finish up this video today, guys. Thanks again. Alrighty, well that's it for the review today, guys. I appreciate you coming by, checking out this video. Like I said earlier, if you found anything in this video at all informative, or if you like EDC content or tech reviews, go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button and turn on those bell notifications to get notified when I put out new content. Other than that, that's it for today. Thanks for stopping by to check out the AD15, and until next time, guys, stay safe, stay creative, and above all, stay sharp, my friends. Until next time.